Five years ago, we rehabbed our barn and started having a few guest chefs. We provided the produce and they cooked the food, and we kind of tested the waters of having people out here for dinner. After 2 years, we took over the food entirely. We make a small amount of our own house wine that is from grapes grown here on the property. Sam has been growing grapes and making wine here for as long as I've known him.
So when did you start growing grapevines?
97, I planted my first vines. Naively, maybe foolishly, didn't know what I was getting into. I was in my early 20s and just knew that I really liked wine. And so it's been sort of a quest to figure out what works and what doesn't. And so ultimately what we've settled on here is less vines, but to do something that we're interested in and we think makes a quality product and styles of wine that we think people aren't used to drinking from Missouri.
Not even from Missouri. I mean, around the world, they're unusual wines that you're making. So tell me about your approach.
The production is very small. This year we're going to do like 200 cases. Last year was like 100 cases, I think. So we're not actually looking to conquer the world with our wine production here. It's just an aspect of our diverse farm.
Your family has farmed in this area for generations, right?
My great-grandfather bought the place, I think around 1890 or so. My parents moved here around 1970. I grew up in that house, the old farmhouse.
And you grew up farming, so
yeah.
What made you decide that this is what you wanted to carry on for your life's work?
I've always been interested, I think, in the farm and farming and nature in general, and I think that it's just something that spoke to me. So I kind of taught myself organic farming, just learned from like trial and error.
You were really young at that time.
Yeah, I was early 20s, I think. This was in the mid 90s, late 90s, and there weren't a lot of people doing farm to table, and it wasn't a thing too much. So,
what inspired you to take an organic approach before it was really something that was well known?
It's about sustainability, but it's about being rational and not necessarily being a part of a club one way or the other, I think. So
you're not that much of a joiner, Sam.
No. Oh, okay. I'm glad you know that. So this is a variety called pet-nat, which is not common in Missouri, but this is a French grape.
That is a beautiful grape. It's so
very,
tiny.
Very tiny. Indigenous to a very small region in the south of France called Jurançon, and they make highly regarded sweet wines there. So I don't exactly know what we're going to do with this yet. I might make a sweet wine with it. It might get blended with sort of the other whites as well.
Oh, this is delicious.
A lot of the vineyards in Missouri end up machine harvesting their grapes. Here, because we're really trying to grow the highest quality product possible, the trade-off is that we kind of have to do all the work by hand. We're kind of more inspired by the flavor of these European wine grapes, so that's why we struggle to keep growing them.
The varieties and the way that you vinify your wines, it's something that seems like it's very personal to you.
Yeah.
In the same way that the farm is very personal. And when people come here for the dinners and when they come to your home and to your farm and they get to experience, what you've made, what is that like for you?
One of the ways we do things here is people sign up for our farm dinners, and the menu is what it is, and they're buying sort of what we're making. And so, the wines we choose are the same way. It's a conversation that we have to start, and we say, trust us, try this. It's not that they'll 100% like it, but oftentimes they're surprised by it, and it's unlike anything they've had from Missouri or maybe from anywhere else in the world. So these are the 3 wines that we made last year, and all 3 of these are naturally sparkling wines that we call pet-nat or pétillant naturel. It's a French word that basically signifies that the fermenting wine has gone into the bottle before it's fully fermented. So there's still some natural sugars in the wine. We put it into a champagne bottle, cap it. The wine continues to ferment and we capture carbon dioxide, and so that's why it's sparkling.
I mean, were you just playing around and thought this would be kind of fun to experiment with? Because it is so unique.
I've always been drawn to wines that are, say, more eccentric. And from a winemaking point of view and from a grape growing point of view, that's what I became interested in putting in a bottle. Last year was the first year that we did this, and it's a bit of a shooting from the hip, and you don't know exactly what you're going to end up with, so it's fun. But what it really does is it kind of captures the grapes in the bottle.
I love that you're experimenting. So what are the 3 different types?
Yeah. So we make a white, a rosé, and a red.
Can we try some of these?
We can.
That's gorgeous. You can go out and get a wine that's predictable and you know it's going to pair with whatever you're having for dinner, but being able to try something that is very personal and an expression of the winemaker and the way that you approach farming and the way that you approach your craft, that's what makes this fun, and it happens to be also really delicious. The grape harvest wrapped weeks ago, and we are here at Claverach tonight for one of its farm-to-table dinners. Those wonderful pet-nat wines are going to be paired with a multi-course meal that's prepared in that refurbished barn using ingredients grown right outside the door.
So when I started working with Sam, we knew from the start that at some point we wanted to do some kind of prepared food together with the produce from the farm. So there's a wild sea scallop on the menu tonight with a celery root puree and some herbs and radishes. The main course is red wine braised buttonwood chicken quarters with pureed potatoes, and then dessert I made, and it's a pumpkin clafouti and ginger ice cream.
Now let's head inside their refurbished barn and have a taste of this farm-to-table feast. Follow me. The color is gorgeous. Thank you. During the dinner, all 3 of the pet-nat wines that are made here at the farm are available: the white, the red, and the rosé.